Ducktails, woo! Hi, it's just your friendly neighborhood black girl, and you know what? Ducktails is back and better than ever. So this is all about how I felt while watching Ducktails. I watched the full 45-minute episode. It's actually up online on the Disney Channel YouTube channel if you want to check that out. So let's just get started. I'm going to talk about the good and the bad, but there's not really much bad. So starting with the bad, like I said, there's not really much. I couldn't really understand Donald Duck. Now, I guess the person who's playing Donald maybe is a new kind of voice actor that's voicing that character. I'm not sure, but I couldn't understand like 50% of what he was saying, and half the time I just kind of gave up. And I noticed that a lot of other people had that issue too, where they just didn't know what Donald was saying. So hopefully that improves in the next couple episodes, because I can't imagine having him be on the show and us not understanding what he's saying. It just sounds like jitter and just random words. So hopefully that changes, but that is all of the bad. Like, that's the only bad thing I have to say about this show. It's just that I can't understand Donald, and he's only in it that first episode for maybe about 10 minutes. So it's not too terrible, but yeah, that's something that could definitely be improved on. The good. The dialogue is really, really good. Like, there's some really strong points that I just really like. I never felt like they were words that, you know, a character would say or wouldn't say. Like, I just felt like everything they were saying was true. That's how a person would act. That's how they would talk. That's how Huey, Dewey, and Louie would act. Like, it just felt very real. It also, kind of backing off of that, it doesn't try too hard to be modern, and I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of new shows or movies that get rebooted, they lose a lot of heart because they try to update them to modern 2017. So they use words that normal people wouldn't use, or they try to use lingo or slang that just falls flat and it becomes really dated. And that's a lot like my main issue with a lot of the reboots. However, DuckTales feels like DuckTales would. There's no random words like lit or hip or whatever. You know, it's very just, hey, this is a show that's been rebooted for now. Like, we use phones, but we could still see it in the 80s. So it still has a really good nostalgic feel. And I really appreciated that, because there are some shows, Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans Go, that were rebooted that were not good because they tried to be too modern, and it was a mess. So I really appreciate that about this. Another thing is that the theme song is still the same. It's really great. The graphics are really cool. They kind of use like a comic book sort of feel and a look to it, which is really great. And I mean, it gets you excited. It gets you ready for the show. I mean, the vocals, I really don't like the vocalists all too much, but it's still pretty good. Nothing's been changed. It's just been kind of updated. So that's really nice. David Tennant as Scrooge McDuck is great. You can really tell that he cares about the role and he's really trying his best, and it definitely shows. Like, every actor on the show is great, but David Tennant really stands out. Not only do they use his, you know, kind of Scottish accent to help him along, a lot of the words that he says, like garage and like schedule, it's like they're very weird and different, but it works with his accent, and I really, really, really like that. And he's a really great addition to this cast, so good for you, David Tennant. You're great. You're great in everything. Now, the funny. The first thing is, Launchpad McDuck is hilarious. Like, he steals everything that he's in, and he's kind of like this dumb but handsome but like adventurous type of character, but he kind of steals everything because he says like the weirdest things, and he just pops up at random moments, and it's hilarious. And he's just like, he really adds a good comedic relief to the show. The line where can't remember, I think it's Huey, and he's like, you know, lying is a responsible thing to do, and that made me laugh so hard. I don't know why, but just the way that you said it was perfect. Dewey's failed attempt at dodging like the death lasers, and he's like singing a song like Dewey's me sing like I am so good, and he's really not. Like, he's so bad at it, like terrible, but he thinks he's so great, and I just laughed at that. And the Glomgold Industries, like, that whole thing is just hilarious in itself, and it really makes you laugh. So that's just a couple of the funny things that I thought. And the show overall does have a really great comedic tone. Like, most of the jokes were funny, not a lot of them fell flat. The comedic timing is really great. The characters kind of all work together to make things funny, and I didn't think one voice actor was bad. Like, all of them were really great, and they all really made like a strong team, because it's not an ensemble. Like, each character is really important, and I really appreciate about this. While DuckTales is kind of a reboot, it feels like the right choice, because I feel like a lot of reboots are being made just to be made, and not to be added, or not to be given kind of a fresh breath or a fresh take on them. They're just made to make money. DuckTales feels, while it is there to make money, I'm sure, it feels like the right step, right? You know, you've got these one-dimensional characters, Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby, and Scrooge McDuck, and you take a concept that people really like and they love, and you add something new to it. You add something good. And I could see this world being expanded upon for the better. Whereas a lot of reboots, people ask why. Like, why do we need that? Whereas I feel like a lot of people have been kind of hyped up about DuckTales. I have too, and DuckTales wasn't even in my era. And I was excited to see something new, fresh breath. You know, we don't have to go through an origin story in this first episode. It's just fun, a fun adventure. And I think that's really nice. And so, in that case, I guess I would say, if we're going to make reboots, I would rather have them be like this than what we're getting, which I will make a video on eventually, if I can. But I just like this new fresh takes and this new spin on DuckTales, and I'm excited to see Darkwing Duck in the future, and maybe we'll get Rescue Rangers. I don't know, but I'm all for it. Just because, like, even though that Disney Afternoon is great, you could definitely see it being expanded upon, right? Like, it's something that you could be like, yeah, I could see that being something new, or I could see a new, fresh take. Whereas a lot of things I'm like, I don't see that being remade again. Like, why? You know? I don't know if you guys watched my last video about Raven's Home, but I felt really weird watching it. And I guess I felt weird because it didn't feel like it was for me. They used a lot of, like, lingo and, like, fart jokes, and I didn't necessarily love that. You know, it didn't feel like That's So Raven. It felt like a new something, which wasn't bad, but it just felt like something different. Whereas with DuckTales, I felt very comfortable watching it. I felt like I was watching DuckTales, and I felt like the creators had everyone in mind, not just the new generation, but they had all kids in mind and all adults in mind, and I really like that. It's a fun adventure show. You know, the people in it are older, which kind of brings a new sort of take on it. It has a lot of new and nice things, but it still captures the heart of what DuckTales was. And I really appreciate that. You know, I was able to laugh at the jokes. I was able to not feel weird watching it, and I'm excited for where they're going to take this show. Now, this was 45 minutes, so for some people it felt a little bit slow, but for me it moved in a perfect pace. But the new episodes that will be in this season will only be about 20 minutes, so that's a good thing for people to know. But I'm really excited for the show, and overall I would give it a 4 out of 5 rating. The only reason why I'm not giving it a 5 is because, you know, I feel like it has a little bit of work to do, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries and be like, it's a 5, so it's a 4 out of 5, but that's still pretty strong. I'm really excited with the way that Disney Channel is going. I feel like Disney had a really dark stage, and it was a mess, and I'm really liking the new approach that they're taking. You know, we've got Milo Murphy's Law, which I'm planning on doing a review for in a little while. We've got Star vs. The Forces of Evil. We've got Gravity Falls, even though they're reruns. We've got Tangled the series. We've got DuckTales. We've got Raven's Home. You know, shows that aren't just random weird things with lots of fart jokes, right? Like, people are putting time and effort into this, and I think that's important. You know, just because it's children's television doesn't mean that it can't be good or it can't be quality. You know, people still watch them. I mean, I'm a big fan of Gravity Falls, and that's on Disney Channel, and DuckTales really feels like that. It feels like it could be, okay, it's Gravity Falls, it's Adventure Time, it's you know, Steven Universe, maybe not to the highest caliber, but it could be eventually someday. The show could really grow, and I see it just becoming really great. So, you know, I'm excited to watch more episodes, and hopefully you'll stay tuned and watch them with me. So, thanks for watching. Bye.